Ain't no way, ain't no how. I'ma let somebody come and shut me down. Hold my own, I'ma stand my ground. I'ma rep my city and salute my town. Said ain't no way, ain't no how. I'ma let somebody come and shut me down. I'ma hold my own, I'ma stand my ground. And I'm ready for whatever, and I still stand proud. Ain't no way. Who you think you kidding, dude? Never thought that I would do.
What up, though? It is your boy Mike D, host of Wrestling from the 313. And as always, on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, we are streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So if you're on any of those platforms, check us out. This episode and all episodes are brought to you by WSC, the Wrestling Society Network. Make sure you check the app out on Roku, Amazon, and Apple TV. Got a lot of cool stuff on there. Wrestling documentaries, wrestling movies, wrestling TV shows, wrestling cartoons, anything that's wrestling, they got it. Go to their website, thewrestlingsociety.com, where you can also sign up for a free account, check out all the cool content there. Go to the podcast room where you can check out Wrestling from the 313, and you can check out all the other independent podcasters in the IWC. Also go to their Patreon page where you could join for free. But to get the exclusive good stuff, they got membership options. So check that out. Got a lot of cool stuff on there too. And I also want to, make an announcement. The Wrestling from the 313 YouTube channel hit over 9,000 subscribers yesterday. So I'm happy about that. We are officially on the road to 10K. So if you are watching and you haven't already, make sure you go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button so we could get to 10,000 very, very quick. So my guest today is based out, he's from Minnesota. He's the owner of True North Wrestling. Dick Yerke, it's a pleasure to have you on. Welcome to Wrestling from the 313.
Great to be on. And man, that opener is a freaking banger of a song. I was like, wow, okay.
I appreciate that, and shout out to Professor Bear for creating the intro. I think he said his nephew actually did the song. So shout out to Professor Bear and Professor Bear's nephew. And also, if you are watching right now, you got any questions, any comments you got for me or Dick Yerke, just leave them in the comments, and we'll put your comment on the screen, or if you got any questions, we'll answer that. And yeah. So what inspired you to start True North Wrestling, and what was your original vision for the promotion?
Well, I actually joined WFU at the time, is what we were going under. I joined as kind of like a backstage person. I was still active as a manager at the time. The original owner and another co-owner kind of parted ways, so I ended up asking who did they want to lead the company. They ended up picking me, so we ended up rebranding. The purpose of True North Wrestling is to bring wrestling together still, just more of a beacon of hope in what professional wrestling is today. I know that there's a lot of clicks and all this other jazz within wrestling, but in the last few shows we've had Wrestle Verite defended on our show. We've had Ironheart Pro Wrestling out of Minnesota as well defended on our show. So it doesn't matter if you're a champion for another company, you want to come in and defend the title, just let us know. Let me talk to the promoter, make sure that they're kosher with it, and I'm good with anyone defending any title on our event.
Cool.
It's about bringing wrestling together. I'm sick of this narrative where wrestling has to be one way or the other.
Yeah.
If we get together, we're all out for the same exact thing, and that's to make fans happy.
Definitely. And I think that's one of the cool things about the independence, that wrestlers from other promotions can go to other promotions and defend their championship and stuff like that. Kind of the cross branding is cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any problems with like any other like promoters in the past when you tried to like do like a cross branding? type of thing?
No, we work kind of close with Ironheart. On this next event, we're having both their hybrid championship, who is currently being held by Elijah Dixon, and the tag team championships, which are being held by Exodus, being defended. And on top of that, a old promotion by the name of WFU, no, not WFU, FLWA, which was located in the area that we run in now, allowed me to defend their World Heavyweight Championship, which is being held currently by West Briscoe.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a big name right there. That's what's up.
yeah.
So, just off the top of your head, how many promotions do you think, other promotions do you think you've had on your shows?
I know of four so far.
Okay.
We're currently working. I floated out an idea on Facebook where maybe in December, all of us as companies here in Minnesota will get together and throw together like our champions will defend their title against someone else in their company,
Yeah.
throwing together one big super collab
Wow.
and donating the proceeds to people in need for the Christmas holiday season.
Wow. Yeah.
So
That cool. And
I'm currently trying to work that out though.
what 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 venue would you like to have an event like that?
Any venue that's willing to work with us because it's going to be a benefit show. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, if they're willing to work with us, we're willing to work with them. A lot of venues nowadays are between like 1 to 5K. And when I'm logically trying to think of helping out the needy, we need that price to be like around $200 to $300. That way we can easily pay for the boys, easily give money back. Yeah, a lot of us will be in the red, but at the end of the day, it's more important to have families supported throughout that time than it is to be worried about a bottom dollar. There are plenty of families in need currently.
Yeah, yeah, especially with everything going up, you know what I'm saying? The cost of living is, going up, rent is going up, gas is going up, groceries is going up. It's just crazy because earlier I went to CVS and just like candy, it's not even under $1 anymore. It's not even it's like over $2. And
Yeah,
that's just crazy how things have just changed, man. And it's just like that's cool that you guys are doing shows to help to help the needy, because there's a lot of people that definitely need the help.
most definitely, especially in the Twin Cities area. It's been hit hard lately with the whole ICE raids and everything else that happened with the
Oh,
George Floyd thing, and they're still recovering from that as well.
yeah,
And well, the only thing that's happening is everything keeps going up. I understand that perfectly fine because me and my wife were looking at trying to move, and I told her they want first month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit, 800 credit score. I'm like, who in the heck actually has all that right now?
right.
Who has 5 grand to drop on a rental? If
Yeah,
I was looking at trying to drop that much, I might as well just buy my own house and get a mortgage and all this other jazz.
uh, that's
So yeah,
so.
America's crazy right now.
Yeah, yeah, it really, really is, and the sad part, it's not getting better no time soon.
I don't see it happening, unfortunately.
Right. So, how would you describe the identity and style of True North Wrestling compared to other indie promotions? Now, I know one thing, like you just mentioned, like you guys do a lot of events and stuff for the needy. What other things make you stand out from other promotions?
We try to be drama free in our locker room. So what that means is if you have an issue, you're going to bring it up to one of the owner's attention. We're going to pull both of y'all aside. We're going to hash it out because at the end of the day, we feed our talent. What that means is you sit down, you're breaking bread with your other fellow wrestlers. It means that you're family at that point. we're going to feed you. If you have an issue, we're going to squash that issue because there's no need for it. We are all stressed as a unit, especially when you're trying to put on the best possible product that you possibly can.
Yeah.
So it's much better if we take a step back, take a breath, and then solve the issue. One of the other things is we have a lot of young talent coming out of the hive, and they're coming in, they're breaking in through us, and they get to earn their stripes, so to speak. And that's really awesome. I've seen a lot of great kids come out of the hive. Uh, Icarus Alexander is one that comes to mind. He came in on short notice and put on a banger of a match against somebody, and then just kept wanting to come back. And that's one thing that I really like is when wrestlers are like, "Yeah, you know what? Hit me up anytime. I'm willing to come back."
Yeah, that's what's up. That's definitely what's up. Um, so what have been some of the biggest challenges you faced as a promoter, and how did you overcome them?
One of the biggest issues is trying to find a venue willing to work. There's been other companies that come in and sometimes they take the area and people think of, oh, it's pro wrestling. That means that the booker or whoever is not going to actually put on a show, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
But I'm from that area. I grew up in that area. I'm actually moving back into that area come May.
Okay.
And now it's more of a, I understand where you're coming from at the end of the day. You had a bad experience with X promotion. We're not X promotion. We're out here trying to do the right thing, out here trying to put food on people's tables and entertainment for the fans. Another issue I've ran into is sponsorship. In this day and age, like we just got done saying, everything's going up.
Yep. Yeah.
So what we ended up doing is making multi-tier. So the lowest that we go is $25 for a sponsorship. That makes it affordable for them to not only get their name out there, but to be a part of something amazing. We go from 25 bucks as our lowest all the way up to 200. We're not trying to get thousands of dollars from people because at the end of the day, everyone's bottom dollar is a little bit more tighter, and we understand that.
Yep. Definitely. And it's just like you said, that's I think that's cool that you guys do things like as with the wrestlers as far as like when they have problems and you guys have them come together to solve their problems and stuff, because you don't see a lot of that in wrestling. This is like it's not about drama and controversy. People don't want to hear about it, and and it's good to be. It's good that you bring creating something or creating a chemistry in the locker room where everybody gets along. So I think that that's cool too, and that sponsorship that can be definitely a tough situation right there. Have you had any problems with sponsorships or anything?
Yeah, we did a show down in Rochester, and there were so many people that were just completely disrespectful and literally swore at us when we're trying to call for sponsorship that it turned. Sorry, I also have a dog right next to me.
No.
Uh, that it turned into a okay, we don't feel like running in that town anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they say, "Oh, are you XY company?" And we're like, "No." And they're like, "Well, then we don't want to do business with you." Okay, well, at the end of the day, did you sign a contract with that company? Like, are you just loyal because of the fact that they have a bigger name than someone that's just starting out?
Yeah.
Like, instead of talking to us, they just throw us aside and swear at us and hang up the phone. And I'm like, okay, we don't need that. So we decided to run in a country town instead because country folks are a little bit more nicer than than big city
The city
folks.
folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I could definitely see that. City seem like us city folk is a little more. I would probably say a little impatient or
I mean,
uh
at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, hopefully sooner or later we'll get some shows. I know we have one running up here in Crystal. So it's a little bit bigger than Waverly is, that's for sure. And hopefully we'll get something, some form of sponsorships. And it all depends on the time of the year too. Like I get it. No one wants to be on the phone for like 5 to 10 minutes anymore. They would much rather just text you.
yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I like phone conversations and I like to do face to face style stuff because you won't get a vibe from someone based off of a like text message.
That is true. That is true. But and it's so crazy. Like we just at that age in that era now where it's just like you said, everything is through text and just like just even conversation. Just what I'm saying. If you out and about and you meet somebody, you meet a young lady or something, and it's all about texting or whatever. And it's sad that that's not going to change anytime soon. And that just it seems like as time go on, they're gonna find some different way for people to communicate rather than just calling somebody on the phone or whatever.
See,
That
and that's why I strive at everyone that I call friend or family. I try to give them a phone call at least once a month, and it's just they get shocked because it's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just calling to check up on you. Make sure you're doing okay. Are you doing okay?" I mostly do that to my guy friends because us as males tend to hide our feelings. It's perfectly understandable.
uh,
But if another guy's calling you, it's like, oh well, that seems a little weird. And I'm like, no, it's just me giving a crap about you. I
yeah,
would much rather you have a conversation with me than the other alternative because I've lost way too many friends to the other alternative, and I'm kind of tired of it at the end of the day.
yeah, yeah. I definitely agree with you on that. And yeah, and this is just like you said. We as men, it's like we try to keep that not the machoism, but just keep our guard up. You know what I'm saying? And just
Yeah.
sometimes we going through life, and sometimes life can take a toll on us, and we try to hold it in and build it in, and it builds up sometimes, and sometimes it builds up too much. Depending on that person's mental, it can get crazy. So that's I definitely give you props for that. You know what I'm saying? I wish that's something that I feel like I should do more, and I feel like that's something I wish I got more, whatever. But that I definitely give you props for that.
Well, I got a buddy that just became a technically a new father. It was his firstborn. So every now and again, he might not pick up the phone, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm such a bad friend. I don't pick up the phone. I don't call that often." I'm like, "Dude, you're a dad of three now. Your two stepkids that you don't even consider stepkids. You call them your kids, and then brand new baby. Like it's perfectly understandable. You're trying to be super dad.
Uh,
I don't have kids. I don't have that luxury of being like, yeah, I got kids, so I can't pick up the phone.
mhm.
No, it's a totally different beast once you have kids.
Yeah,
And I give them all the props in the world for not only juggling a job, but juggling professional wrestling and also trying to make time for his friends. I get it.
yeah,
At the end of the day, it's more important family first. So that's what I've always said. I strive that into a lot of our wrestlers too. If something comes up with the family, let us know. We're not going to not book you again for a family issue. I've
yeah,
always been family first, and that's how I always will be. One of my buddies just messaged me and let me know that he couldn't make an event. He's like, I'm so sorry, up and down, everything else. I'm like, what have I always told you? What comes first? And he sends me a gif of Toretto from Fast and Furious and says family. I'm like, exactly. That's what I like. I've always been that. That's been in my blood ever since I started.
That's what's up. Because I know that, and it seemed like a lot of like just explaining the situation with the wrestler. It seemed like a lot of wrestlers that can't make shows don't get called back from those promotions. So it's just like when they let you know about it, it's kind of like, oh no, that kind of that fear of, okay, am I gonna be able to return? But like I said, another thing I gotta give you props for that. When family issues come along, with the wrestlers, that you let them take care of their issues.
Well, I fully understand having family issues coming up. This next show that we're having is for my mother. She just
Okay.
had a double amputee.
Mm-hmm.
So she had one done last year, one done this year. And then I totally, no offense, but I forgot that I even had a podcast to be on until Cal Crander Q said something, because my dad ended up going into the hospital last week and ended up having emergency hernia surgery on top of it. And
Oh,
then, of course, we had to go out to Waverly yesterday to promote the show. And I'm like, wait, I have a podcast? When did I have a podcast? I don't remember this. And Crander was like, here, I'll send you the link. I'm like, oh, shoot, that's right. Okay, it's been a hell of a week. So I perfectly understand, family things happen.
yeah,
I try to do my best to keep everything, tight knit, even with the company, but sometimes that's why I have two other owners, is the fact that when things become a little bit too much for me to handle, I can pass the buck off to someone else. Like when we end up moving here in May, I told my other partner Jesse, I'm like, now you're in charge of promoting Crystal, because I can't be going moving things, going out to Crystal, back to moving things. I can't keep doing that circle right now. I need to focus on moving my stuff and getting my family settled. That way I can start on the next chapter of what we're looking for.
definitely, definitely. So how is it having a co-owners for your promotion? Do you guys work together, or come together pretty easily when making decisions?
Oh yeah, definitely. We like to bounce ideas off of each other quite a few times, and we're not afraid to call each other out. So if an idea makes no logical sense for the path that we are going down for a story, it's more of a, no, I don't like that, and this is why. How are we going to get there? How will the payoff be? And having a worker's mindset kind of helps with that too. Is, you know, I understand that the other two owners have been in the business, but I don't think they've been physical workers.
Okay,
So I still have that worker's mindset because I just retired in December from management.
okay.
So I try to kind of pump the brakes when they're like, this would be awesome. Yeah, it would be. But how are we going to get there?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, they call me out on my stuff too. So I'm perfectly okay with that. If they're like, whoa, hold on, why are we doing this? And I'll be like, oh, well, X, Y, and Z. No, we don't like that. Okay, well, what angle do you guys want to take on this then? So it's sometimes it's a little bit of a bicker, but other times it's more of a, we understand. Okay, now where do we pivot to? We had a storyline that was supposed to last all year
Okay.
that got cut to a two-show product because of the fact that A, it didn't hit right. B, there was other issues that were involved. So we're like, well, now we got to go take this and now fast track it and try to make it make sense so one of our top guys doesn't get lost in a shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
And he's improved so much that I'm like, because I got you going here at this time, but I can't get you there with you being there.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of just sit down and talk everything out, every angle possible, and fast track it if we have to.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And shout out to Jesse James. He was on the show not too long ago. Good conversation. If you're watching, go to the YouTube channel. It's in the live section. Jesse James, check out that interview. So, what does it mean to you to provide a platform for independent wrestlers in the Midwest?
It means everything. It doesn't matter where they want to go in their career. They could want to go to AEW or WWE. If we're that stepping stone for that, awesome. Don't forget us when you get up there because I would like to kind of come out there and give you a hug and a
Yeah,
handshake and everything else that you made it.
yeah,
That's the dream at the end of the day. Some of them just want to come in and to them this is just fun. It's
yeah,
fun to go out there and entertain a crowd. That's the way I was. I liked being. Am I allowed to swear on this? I don't know if I am.
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah,
Okay. I loved being the asshole of Oliver Williams. So, like, going out there and getting that heat was amazing for me. I thrived off of that. But I wasn't trying to be the next Paul Heyman or uh, Paul Ellering, none of those guys. I was trying to be myself in
yeah,
a different way to get an outlet. So when I went to my 9 to 5, I wouldn't lose my absolute crap on anyone because I would have gotten it out the weekend before. So to me, wrestling was a coping mechanism. Oh, so there's a lot that it means to have that outlet for these young and up and coming wrestlers.
mm,
And I'm hoping that some of them make it big because that would be awesome. I know I used to do ring crew for Heavy on Wrestling up here in Minnesota.
okay,
They had Top Flight on there. They've had Lance Archer. They've had Cody Rhodes when Cody was on the Indies. And every single one of those guys have one thing in common, and that's they came in, they had a cool head, they were nice, and they helped push set up and tear down.
yeah,
There's not a lot of people that can say that Jimmy Hart helped tear down a ring or Abyss helped tear down a ring.
yeah,
But luckily, I've been on crews where those guys have carried something simple as padding. They didn't do a lot of heavy lifting, but the little stuff helps.
that's what's up. That's what's up. And I just think that just like everything that you have said as far as like independent wrestlers, wrestling on in your promotion and moving on. And I think that's one of the cool things with independent wrestling is like you get to see those wrestlers before they move on. So it's like when you do see them in the pros, you could be like, hey, I remember him. I saw him wrestling at this promotion or that promotion. And that's one of the things that I want to get into more is going to more shows and independent shows in my state because there's some pretty good wrestlers in the area, and I think a lot of them have potential. So it would be cool to just one day watch an AEW and see somebody from Michigan in a dark match. You know what I'm saying? And that's you have brought up Top Flight. Top Flight's
Yep.
from Minnesota, right?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. So Minnesota, I wouldn't say is like the equivalent to what like New York is to basketball, but it's one of those wrestling cities that's up there. That's like
Oh yeah.
top wrestling cities or states.
Well, logically thinking about it, we had technically Brock Lesnar isn't from Minnesota anymore. He lived in South Dakota. So take
Right.
Brock Lesnar out of it,
Yeah.
technicalities. We have had Larry Henning, we've had Kurt
Yeah.
Henning, we've had Paul Ellering, we've had Eddie Sharkey out of this area. We've had the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. The legacy that this state has, not only with the AWA, but in general as a whole. Like um, I know him as Joe. Um, Curtis Axel came out of Minnesota.
Mm.
Um, Eric Rowan's local. He used to work for a few promotions up here too.
Oh, okay.
So it's cool when I'm watching AEW and I see Top Flight versus Royal Flavor. I'm like, holy crap. Those are two people that I've worked with a lot. And now they're on my TV wrestling a match. And I'm just like, is this reality right now? It makes me happy to see that. And any other promotion that wouldn't be happy to see a talent leave to go elsewhere is not a promotion anyone should work for at the end of the day. Because I will be on the phone faster than anyone else if I see one of my talent on the show. I would be on the phone congratulating them, asking them, what did they tell you? What are your next steps? Are they going to sign you? That sort of thing. Because I'm excited for them. They're achieving a dream that they've had since they were knee high to a grasshopper.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. So let's talk about the May 9th benefit show. I know you had brought it up briefly a little while ago. How did the idea come together, and what does this event mean to you personally?
So this event is for my mother because she ended up having a bunch of health issues over the last few years. That ended with, sorry, I'm also at work too. So if you hear kids in the background, that's why. I work with my parents. Um, so she's had one amputee last year and one earlier this year.
Okay.
There was other companies that were like, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z for you. And we're going to throw a benefit show on for you. They always were promised that, but they never got that. So we're roughly around less than a year in formation of True North Wrestling. And one of the shows I pitched to the other two owners was the fact that I wanted to run a benefit show. Now, what a benefit show means to us is our guys still get paid. If they want to donate something at the end of the day, that's perfectly fine. That's on them. But everyone still gets paid. We'll hold a silent auction that's going to go 100% of those proceeds are going to my mother and everything that she needs. Half of our gate, which is why ticket sales are a little bit more higher. Half of our gate is going directly to them as well. And people are like, well, you went from, I think we were at $20 up to 30 in a matter of one show. That's because we have to pay for flights for West Briscoe. Jerry Briscoe's coming in.
Oh,
And we're top to bottom, this whole entire card is nothing but banger after banger. Where else can you go where you can meet Jerry and West Briscoe? That's the first time here in Minnesota that both of them two will be in the same building.
that's what's up.
I'm currently waiting for another talent to message me because I had to back out. So hopefully he'll be able to come on. But we have 4 championship matches in one show, 2 from a different company, 1 from that will be our heavyweight championship. And that's going to be Matthias versus Daredevil Derek Fury. Daredevil Derek Fury has history with Matthias. So Matthias was trained underneath Daredevil Derek Fury. So they've been wanting to wrestle each other ever since Matthias started coming up.
Mm.
Everyone else told him, no, 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 we don't see a way that this is going to work. Matthias ended up being a little bit of an asshole. So I was like, you know what? It's time to put your money where your mouth is. Your trainer is going to put a little bit of belt ass to you and hopefully knock you down a few pegs at the end of the day.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, real quick, we'll talk about the Briscoes. And you said this will be their first time together in Minnesota, or make
Correct. They've
which,
been in Iowa for the Luthats Hall of Fame together,
okay,
but they have never been here in Minnesota together.
got you, got you. And Gerald Briscoe that's the guy that used to be with Pat Patterson, with
Yep.
Vince McMahon. Okay, yeah,
Yep.
I knew it because then he have a brother too.
Yep, Jack Briscoe.
Okay, yeah,
They
yeah,
used to wrestle together underneath the original Briscoe brothers.
yeah. Got you. Because that was one of those original wrestling families coming up. Like back in the day, it was the
Yep,
Briscoes, the Von Erichs. Um, then you had in the '80s, you had the Hearts. Can't forget about the Guerreros. If you want to throw the Orton family, you could throw them in there too. And of course,
the
the whole
Rhodes
Samoan,
family.
the Rose family, and we can't forget about the whole Samoan bloodline. And like that, we could go on days talking about all the people they got in that family. But I
Yeah,
think,
they probably been around like a good 50 to 60 years tops.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah, I could see that. I could see that. But that's just cool, like how some of these family wrestling families from back in the day still have like their kids or their grandkids or great grandkids still wrestling. I think that's real cool. And like even just now, because I'm in my 40, I'm 44, and just seeing Rey Mysterio's son wrestling, like I remember watching Rey Mysterio in WCW, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And just seeing some of these wrestlers, like even like seeing Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter, you know what I'm saying? Just like I think that's real cool. And not just in wrestling, I just think in sports, period, that when you see great players that play, now you seeing their kids playing, and we
you,
kind of
you
had
forgot
that. Oh,
you
go ahead.
forgot one other person,
Who was that?
Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt.
Yes,
Their
yes.
dad, Mike
Mike
Rotunda.
Rotunda. Yep.
Yep.
IRS. Yeah. So I just think it's cool. You know what I'm saying? And um of course they don't live up to that expectation of their parents or whatever, but just still seeing them out there, I think it's cool.
I mean, it's hard. My dad does a lot of stuff for professional wrestling. So when I first was starting, it was, oh, you're Fred's son. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. It took forever for me to break that. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You guys remember my dad, but I don't want to be called Yerke. It's not like, if I walk into a venue as a worker, I don't want you to go, hey, Yerke, come here. No, call me by my name. Treat me the same way you would treat anyone else, because at the end of the day, we're all equal. But I also want to be treated with a little bit more respect than just, hey, come here.
Definitely, definitely. I feel you on that. So for fans who may not know, um just oh sorry. Oops, wrong question. How has the wrestling community responded to the benefit show so far?
We are 75% sold out of pre-sale for front row. We
Oh,
only
sweet.
have, actually, I think it's over that now. I think we only have four left. Uh, our BOGO sale still going on. It's one per person,
Okay.
so that's slowly going. But so far, even with other shows going on around our state at that time, we've been able to get a lot of people through our door wanting to come to us. And I think what kind of helps with that is having the Briscoes and having like Jameson McGregor out of Iowa coming up for this, because they're not going to be able to see that often. Two big meaty guys clashing together, and I'm like back here. I'm going to be in Gorilla at the time, and I'm going to be looking at it like a fan, but at the same time, I got to be the boss, which sucks because I know that that's going to be a hell of a good match.
Yeah, yeah. So real quick to piggyback, I know you had talked about, your time as a manager.
Yeah.
Um when you were a manager, did you have like were you one of those managers that had like a group of wrestlers that sort of like the manager of a faction, or you just had like individual wrestlers or a tag team that you managed?
My faction was known as the family, believe it or not. Uh, It was Matthias, Drew Dillon, and Jaded James Morgan.
Okay.
So when I was managing, it was either for Wrestle Verite or it was for Northern Lights. My main client, as we like to say, was Matthias. I grew up, not really grew up, but we kind of traveled the road together a lot. When I was a referee, I kind of put in the screw job for another promotion to get him the belt. We were both at that time we were both very overweight, and I'm like, "What are we doing?" kind of thing. But as time went on, I transitioned from being a referee to being a manager. I got to manage him. I got to manage the Summit, which is Daredevil, Derek Fury, and Joseph Alexander, who I traveled the roads with up and down North Dakota for, I would like to say, 2 years before we ended up not going back.
Okay.
But I got to manage a lot of great people and a lot of great talent. El Tigre out of Minnesota. He was one of my first quote unquote clients. Uh, I just like being the asshole, man. It didn't matter where I was. I got to if I got on the mic, I love feeding into that negative energy that the fans would give me. And when I would get backstage and on my drive home, I sometimes I would have to pull over because the adrenaline rush would kill. And
Yeah.
when it killed, I would go into like a full blown panic attack after the show. It's like, okay, I gotta flip that switch. That's part of the reason I retired too. Is it got harder to flip that switch on and off.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, when I start blurring the lines between personal and professional, it's time.
Yeah.
But I always will love the time that I had with a lot of these guys, and I'm hoping that they can have some good memories and good stories of time on the road with me as well. Um, Probably not Derek Fury because nine times out of ten he was sleeping in the back seat. I actually had to swerve a few times to wake his butt up, and he would wake up and go, "Are we close to a town? I gotta pee." Really?
So I know you being a manager and you were a manager of a faction. You being like I said, you being a manager and the owner. Um, what makes a good faction? Because I know, like, you know, putting it together, you want them to have like a good chemistry um out there in the ring, you know, when they doing promos and even in matches. Um, just just your thoughts on what do you think makes a good faction?
Well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Chemistry. You know, it all depends on when Drew Dillon came into the faction. I was a little bit like, I don't know about this one, only because he was one of the top baby faces at the time.
Okay.
Um, he never truly been a true heel up until that point. But the more he kind of was with us, the more he got that heat exposure, the better he got.
Okay.
So Morgan has always been great. He's been one of them that keeps leveling up each and every time I see him. Matthias went, he's always been an asshole on screen, I should say. That way he doesn't come by my house and kill me. Just kidding. But I don't know how it formed. It just ended up forming. And when it clicked, when you have something fully click, it's like, okay, the crowd doesn't like us. We're putting asses in seats and we're getting the reaction that we want. I didn't necessarily have to be the mouthpiece. I just was great at being that mouthpiece.
Hmm.
But Morgan can cut a promo, Drew can cut a promo, and Matthias can cut a promo. But they were like, no, we want you to do it. You're the mouthpiece for our faction. And for managers, you have to pay attention to the crowd. The most important thing as a heel manager is, yeah, you should be focused on the match, but at the same time, you should be adding to the heat that your client is trying to get, and that's something that's highly missing. A lot of people are just focused on, okay, I need to get to this and this and this. They're not reading the crowd. If the crowd's just sitting there doing nothing, I used to always go when the crowd was dead, this is who you want. This is your guy. I don't hear you guys cheering for him. Instantly, the crowd reaction would be there. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, no, 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 you guys are followers. You guys are nothing but sheep. And it's like the genuine hatred that I got put over the match.
Yeah.
But it takes you understanding that yes, wrestling is point A to point B and everything in between. But if you don't have the crowd reaction from point A to point B, you're not going to have the product that you want to send to other promotions.
Mhm.
Like you want to either get the baby face over as a baby face, or you need to get your client over as a heel. Both of them go hand in hand. You can't just sit there and do nothing. Quite a few times when I managed some people, I felt useless, and I would go backstage, and someone would be like, "You need to use your manager a little bit more." And I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't like to feel like I'm making it about myself either, you
Mhm.
know." But I like it when it makes sense. So having the chemistry of, okay, so we wrestled. My clients wrestled the Summit a lot. So me and the Summit, like I said earlier, go way back.
Mhm.
So they would know when to look for me, so the crowd can get that reaction that we wanted. And my clients knew, like when they fed to me, to take the referee and move them. A little kayfabe break, my bad. But that right there, the chemistry of knowing, hey, I'm about to do something. You're going to have to get him. Instead of going, hey, ref, look over here. They're physically doing something to get the ref's attention.
Yeah.
Wrestlers need to stop doing the, hey, ref, that person said this. Because at the end of the day, why is the ref looking at that person for like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
It
Right.
gives the ref a bad name. I was in that predicament. And I'm like, can you please get me something else to look at instead of, you know, tear off a turnbuckle? Those take forever to put back on. You
Yeah.
know, break part of the, like, tear off part of the apron. That way I can fix it. And I have a reason to be distracted. If
Yeah.
you're saying, hey, this fan said that I look ugly, in this day and age, they have freedom of speech. They're allowed to say what they want. Continue wrestling.
Right. Right.
The logics behind it needs to be more logical.
Definitely.
I
Definitely.
ramble, so if I'm ever too rambly, let me know.
Oh no, it's cool. It's cool. I was just about to ask. Now in wrestling, I mean, they're managers here and there. Do you think the art of managers in wrestling has faded away, or do you think that it's still there?
It can still be there.
Okay.
You know, there's plenty of guys that don't know how to cut a decent promo. Um, and that's okay. If they have the skill set, but they stuck on the mic, find someone that rocks the microphone. Pair them with that person. It could be a wrestler, it could be a referee, it could be anyone that is a trained professional. I cannot stress that enough. But if they can get over and they can get their person over, that's what makes magic right there.
Uh,
So as a lost management is a lost art form in the form of finding one that's good. Um, Sly Fox out of North Dakota. He's been around a while. He knows what he's doing. He is fantastic. Elijah Dixon Uh, he has a manager by the name of Miss Frankie. She just debuted at our second to last event, and she was a natural. And I'm like, holy crap. So it's amazing what proper training and understanding the business will do. If you want to get into the business, and I've been asked this numerous times, you don't need to be a wrestler. You don't need to be a referee. You need to understand how to bump and you need to understand how to count. Because if you're ever needed for a wrestler spot, or I cannot read that. Can you read that for me?
Yeah, this is from Scene Nick. Shout out to him. He said there's still a need for managers. I wish more promoters understood.
Yeah, I think they just messaged me too. I don't know. Um, but being trained to do both is something that will make a good manager. Being able to bump and acting like you're actually being killed without being killed.
Yeah.
I loved taking bumps, and it's rare that managers love to take bumps. But that was my main thing. If someone came up to me, hey, I'm going to bump you, I'll be like, hell yeah. What bump am I taking? Uh, I did a death match as a manager, and I created my own wiffle ball bat with Legos, thumbtacks, and everything else in between. And I took that. I physically took that as a manager. Most managers will be like, no, I'm good. I'm like, heck yeah, let's get that. I want to take that. I even told them, hey, can I take a Guff system plate too? They're like, you're going too far now, man. But finding a manager that loves to bump will always pop the crowd, because if you're that much of an asshole that the crowd doesn't like you, but will cheer when you get your ass beat,
Yeah,
always a good time. I
definitely.
actually played Uno during a match. Yeah.
we, we,
So like for reverse, like we had two reversal cards and one stop or skip. So Matthias pulled out the stop and Jason Rage stopped. I threw out the reversal card,
mhm.
and then he reversed Jason Rage. And then Jason Rage threw a reversal card and then ate it. Like physically ate the dang card.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was at a baseball stadium. Give me 1 second. I gotta let this dog outside.
Okay.
Come on. Let's go. You're welcome. All right, I'm back.
All right. We got a couple comments from Scene Nick. Yeah, he did say he sent you a DM,
Yep.
and he got another comment. I'm a bumping machine, if it makes sense. That is,
I love bumps.
and
Um
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
one of okay, so I forgot my dress shoes at my house one time because I
Uh
always wore dress shoes. It was a suit and dress shoes. That was my whole shtick, and I had a cane. So I had a DoorDash dress shoes to the venue,
huh.
but the venue had like kind of like a tile style floor. And I didn't think about trying to scuff up the shoes to break them in the bottom or anything. So when I went to go take this bump, it was a drop kick that I took from the outside. The dude was in the ring, drop kicked me. My shoes went sliding underneath me, and they're like, "Holy crap, that bump looked great." I'm like, "Yeah, because it was a real bump. Luckily, I know how to tuck my shit." It was still one of my favorite moments though, because it was super funny to just be like, I'm going to lay here for like a whole 5 minutes. Thank God this floor is very cold because it's helping with the pain now.
That's what's up. And you know what, like you were saying, you enjoying taking bumps and stuff like that. A lot of the great managers from like back in the day, they used to take a lot of bumps too, like Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart used to take bumps, Paul Heyman every now and then take bumps. So yeah, that's definitely something that a lot of managers do. And I definitely think managers help wrestlers, and I definitely agree with you on this. That might not be good as good on the mic. So them being that mouthpiece, because like honestly, keep it real. Would Brock Lesnar would his promos be any good if he didn't have Paul Heyman? If it was just him?
No, as much as I like Brock, he's way too squeaky.
Yeah, yeah,
When he gets excited and he starts squeaking. And I'm like, mm, stick to having Paul cut your promo. Every now and again, to build the fact that, hey, I don't need you. I'm more pissed off at this guy to take the mic away from you and just yell at him. That sells it.
yeah,
But you needed Paul Heyman to be the mouthpiece for his, what was it, like 15 years that he's been in, if not longer.
yeah.
So,
It's been almost 20 years, or a little, probably over 20 years. I want to say that he's been in WWE off. I know he's been in off and on and stuff, but it's been about 20, I'll say.
so without Paul Heyman, it probably would have been two.
Yeah, that's true. And I could even say the same thing about somebody like Andre the Giant. If he didn't have Bobby Heenan as his mouthpiece, would he be the big heel that he was around that time when he fought Hogan at WrestleMania?
All right, here's one better. When Cody Rhodes had Arn Anderson as a manager.
Oh, when AEW?
Yep,
Yeah,
the whole Glock thing.
yeah,
Like that sold the fact that the match needed to happen in X, Y, and Z. So that makes sense. Cody's great on the mic, but he needed a manager to kind of, or a coach, as he put it, to kind of upsell the match a little bit.
yeah,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
definitely, definitely.
Sorry, it's checking on the dog.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. We got another comment from Scene Nick. He was saying he put lost art. I want to say he probably talking about the manager game in wrestling right now.
Yep.
So, what message do you hope people take away from this show beyond just the matches in the ring?
Now we're here to stay.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of companies that think that we're just going to be a flash in the pan, but truthfully, we are here to stay, and I'm hoping to stay for a long time. Sorry, you're going to walk with me as I'm talking to you because I have to grab my client ice cream
All
sambo.
right. It's all good.
Um, I'm we were at first a flash in the pan company, but we're not no more.
Okay.
We're underneath real leadership, and we understand the business now more than what we did last year. Let me open this for you, baby girl. I don't want you on camera too much because you'll just start rambling, kind of like I do. And I'm hoping that they leave with a good taste in their mouth. That we're a company that they can put their faith in and their time and energy into.
That's what's
At
up.
the end of the day, that's the most important thing is to build our own fan base. We just got to 1K earlier
Oh,
this year,
congratulations.
and for me that was my big milestone. One of them is I want to be at 1,000 followers before our May event. We reached that, I think, Oh, I would have to say sometime in March.
Okay.
And Crander Q actually helped with, getting the word out and everything. By the way, that dude wanted me to put over his beard on your podcast. Did you know that?
Here, go ahead.
I get it. He has a sexy looking beard. I do, but brother, he needs to put some Fable in that. Not a sponsor. Hopefully soon.
Hey, shout out to Crandy Q and the whole Friends of the Square Circle podcast. That was actually the first podcast that I was on as a guest, and that
Oh,
kind
really?
of, yeah, and that kind of got my juices and kind of got this started. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely say that he was. He never likes to admit it, but I definitely say that me coming on his show definitely played a big part in me starting wrestling from the 313.
So a lot of people don't know. I'm going to replug in my phone here. Give me 1 second. But Crander Q, come on, stop going all Willy Wonky. I got you on a bottle. Crander Q actually does our posters.
Yeah. He shows me some of his posters too, and they're definitely pretty good. They're real good.
Yeah. He's like, hey, do you know anyone that's willing to give me a chance to do posters? And I'm like, well, we're kind of between people right now, so send me something for, I think it was a March event. It might have been, yeah, it was a March event. I was like, just, hey, Megan, take this with you too. You gotta take all your trash, not just part of it. Um, I was like, send me some of your graphics. What you're thinking? This is the title of the event. This is who we have on it. Let's see what you got. He sent me a bunch of stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll have you do our posters.
That's what's up. Yeah, because he helped me do some of my thumbnails for some of my episodes and stuff, and he does a real good job on them. Does a real good job.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that he gets more opportunities within the business.
Oh,
I get it. He's a podcaster and he's a fan and everything. I get that, but we were all fans at one point before we broke in
yeah,
as workers. Grant, we had to go through training and all this other thing, but it doesn't mean that a fan needs to be alienated for not going through training if only thing they're doing is trying to build their name doing posters.
hmm yeah. And he definitely has a bright future in this business. I know he does of lot of stuff at different promotions promoting his podcast and stuff, and he's doing big things in his area.
I'm waiting for his ass to come down to Waverly. Truthfully, he wants me to put over his beard, but yet he won't even put over his own beard at my shows. Sheesh.
Hey, Crandy Q, you got to get out to Waverly, man.
I mean, one thing I love the fact is he doesn't use AI.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm seeing a lot more AI posters, and truthfully, it drives me nuts
yeah,
because anyone can use chat whatever, meta whatever, all that jazz to build a poster, but it takes a certain amount of time and effort to make sure that everything's correct.
yeah,
And if I want a 80s style poster, a lot of times these AI generators don't understand what a AWA style poster would mean.
hmm
So I'm old school when it comes to that. There's a lot of things I'm old school about.
yeah.
So been doing this quite a while, longer than I like to admit.
Hey, I definitely get you on that because I'm old school too, and it's just like now that you starting to see a lot of these, they all starting to look the same now, and then it's like I hate when they have like certain graphics and it's not the right letters and it's not the right logo and stuff like that. Like, so I definitely get what you're saying. And Yeah, this AI stuff is killing everything. But at this point,
Factual. I mean, not every wrestling show is meant to be looking directly like the one from. If you have a show in Minnesota, it's not supposed to look like a show from New York.
you're right. I definitely agree with you on that. Definitely. So, looking ahead, what's next for True North Wrestling after this event, and what are your long-term goals?
Long term goals is to retire from my shoot job and promote wrestling full time. That would be lovely. I would not mind that at all, but it needs to financially be the right move. Um, we have a show in August in Crystal, Minnesota at the Crystal Community Center.
Okay.
Those tickets are already live, and I would love to sell that out. I would love to sell out May as well. Um, even if we just sell out pre-sale, sellout is a sellout in my book. Um, we're in talks about a show in October that will be at a new venue about like 5 minutes away from Waverly.
Okay.
And the event space is bigger than what we have right now.
Cool.
It now fits 300 compared to actually like 350 compared to 200 and I think 25.
Wow, that's good.
So yeah, and it's as much as I love Waverly because I'm from there. Um, it's a better location. It's right on the strip of downtown. So
Okay.
if if we can keep playing our cards right, I would love to keep running there. One of my goals is to work a country festival known as Windstock in Winston, Minnesota.
Okay.
So I have a feeler out for that, and hopefully next year we can bring country music and professional wrestling together. I mean, it would be amazing. I would be a happy camper.
Now, do you,
Um,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, I just said I don't know why I said. What were
Uh,
you going to say?
I was gonna ask you, did you ever had a goal or would ever do a show at the Mall of America?
It's already been done. There's a wrestling promotion up here called First Wrestling that runs a show at Mall of America.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yep.
Yeah. You know
Mall
what?
show,
Because I think Crander Q went to that show. I
yes,
think so. Yeah.
mall
Okay.
shows would be fun, but I just don't dig the setup. The only reason I don't dig the setup is, you have to carry the ring across the mall directly into somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm already stressed the day of a show. I can't imagine having to worry about all that. Sometimes you don't have a crew.
Yeah. That's
Um, there's a wrestler that passed away by the name of Tiny Love that I used to work for. He instilled to me the fact that the boys need to not only help set up, but help tear down too. Doesn't matter if you're 6 months in, it doesn't matter if you're 10 years in, it doesn't matter if you're 30 years in. He made sure that if you were there, no one got paid till that ring was down and in the trailer. And that gave me a bunch of respect for that guy. And that's one thing that I'm doing with True North is a lot of our guys, hey, payday's not till that ring's in that trailer and everything's put back to the way it was because we take care of the venue. The venue 9 times out of 10 will take care of you. You
okay.
respect where you run because you then in return you respect the art of professional wrestling. It's not about paying dues. I know a lot of people think it is, but it's not. It's about being respectful and not leaving a place completely trash because that's what builds a bad reputation.
Yeah. And I know this like when I have uh wrestlers, other referees, managers, just people that's in the IWC. That's the one thing that they always mention: wrestlers breaking down the rings or putting up the rings and breaking down the rings before and after a show. Is that something is that something that's like real symbolic in the wrestling community as far as like before a wrestling show?
The way I look at it is the ring is metal, boards, a sliver of padding, and all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
If you're performing in a ring, it's some guys go out before a show and look at the ring, the whole 9 yards, all that kit and caboodle. But if you're helping set it up, you know exactly where those hot spots are. So you know exactly what spot to avoid to if you're like taking something stupid like a
Mm-hmm.
Canadian destroyer. You know, hey, I don't want to do it right here because right here is a little bit more stiff than right there.
Yeah.
So the sound that the ring has will differ from spot to spot.
Okay.
So is it going to make more of a thud or is it going to shatter like you're almost shattering the ring and the floor beneath you? Because at the that makes the most difference, especially if you're a big fella taking a big maneuver. And that's a story for a different time. It's trying to play into size. A lot of guys are missing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if a tiny guy finally gets a big man off of his feet some way somehow, you want to be able to feel when that big guy takes that bump,
Right.
and that's something that if guys help put together a ring, they'll know what board to hit and what position. Because sometimes the middle is a nice sound, but maybe slightly to the left makes a better sound.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe those boards are just a little bit more loose, or the beans just a little bit better to where when you hit it, it sounds disgusting to others, but it feels amazing to you.
Definitely, definitely. That's what's up. So real quick before we wrap things up and get out of here, just want to talk about a little bit about WrestleMania. WrestleMania was this past weekend. You got a lot of people that didn't like it. You had some people that were cool with it. Um, just real quick, just your thoughts on the show, the overall show, both Saturday and Sunday. What were your thoughts?
They could have done it in one night.
Yeah,
I mean, you're selling a 2 night event with ticket prices through the freaking roof. Punk had the right idea to call out TKO.
yeah,
Um, there was no need to have it as a 2 night event. I think that by far the best match of both nights was Punk versus Roman.
yeah.
I was hoping that Cody versus Randy would have been a lot better than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And with the match times being cut to like damn near nothing and more advertisements than match quality.
Yeah.
They're a multi-million dollar company. There's no need to have 3 to 5 minute ads during a oh I'm sorry, they call it premium live events. The only thing premium about it is the fact that they're trying to sell you on something.
Right,
If you
right.
want if you want a actual pay-per-view, unfortunately, AEW has the right idea right now. They're doing pay-per-views with little to no advertisement. If they do have an advertisement, it makes sense for what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
TKO is throwing in advertisements for the sake of throwing in advertisements. They had a slot game being advertised for Mania. And I'm like, you realize that your demographic is between 20 to 30. But at the same time, there's a lot of children watching your product as well. So you're promoting gambling to children now. How
Yeah.
is that kosher in this day and age? I have no earthly idea. Mad Dog being a sponsor, I get it. You need to sell products to put on an event, but then if you have 50 sponsorships for those advertisements, why are the tickets like $13,000 to be in the front row?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
makes no sense to me.
I definitely agree. Um,
Um,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
you said the IWC. So have you had Tribal Keith on your podcast yet?
No, no.
I love Ben Bishop's Tribal Keith stuff over on Facebook. It makes me laugh so many times. Uh, One of the things he just covered was the whole CM Punk thing that happened after Mania, with the
Mhm.
fan coming in and again putting phone into wrestlers' faces at the hotels.
Yeah,
When they're at the stadium, they're there for your enjoyment. They're there, the whole 9 yards. Outside the stadium, if they want to stop, take a picture, that's their prerogative. When they're at the hotels, leave them the fuck alone.
man. Yes,
Like
yes.
for it drives me up the wall how many fans think that they have the right to go up to a wrestler and be like, "Hey, can I get a photo?" Or, I'm going to record this private interaction, even though they're in public.
Yeah,
No, leave them the fuck alone.
I agree.
Let them be with their families. Let Bailey and AJ share that moment. That was a moment that they've been wanting since AJ first started.
Yeah,
This was, I believe, her first Mania back.
yep.
As a woman that went through hell and back with her mental health, she just needed her friend. And
Mhm.
instead, a fan shoved a phone in their fucking faces. And a lot of people are hating on Punk for that. But there was another video that got released that said, where Bailey said, dude, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, yep. I saw
That
that.
that means that you're invading her personal space. You're invading her time. She's not on the clock.
Yeah,
Leave them the hell alone. Let them go from city to city. If you want to do something with them, pay the price to go there. Pay the price to meet them because at the end of the day, that's how they make their money. Even independent wrestlers don't ask for a free photo if at the table they're charging $5 for a photo. Support independent wrestlers because gas ain't cheap nowadays.
mhm.
That's how they get from Iowa to North Dakota. It's just it's one of my biggest pet peeves is how people think that wrestlers need to be at their beck and call because they paid to see them. No, that's not how it works.
I totally agree because I just seen too many incidents where wrestlers had to get in a fan's face. Cora J had to get recorded a fan that they say grab her butt. Big Vito had to choke up somebody at a signing. Just like you mentioned, the whole CM Punk slapping the phone out the fan's hand. And you are so right. Like I don't like they don't understand that these wrestlers have lives too. A lot of times after the show, after they performed at the show, a lot of times they sore and just want to go to their room and go to bed. And it's just like these fans just keep thinking that, oh, you gotta give me a pic, you gotta take this picture for me, or you gotta give me this autograph. No, and you hit it right on the head. Inside of the venue, hey, you take all the pictures that you want, and even when they in character and heading to the back, you still got to give them respect. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to just grab somebody and tell them to take a picture or whatever. But they definitely need to leave them alone when
So
they're outside
logically,
the venue.
uh, so logically thinking about it, you as an individual, how would you feel if someone came up to you and put a phone directly in your bubble when you were out with your family? You would probably look at them and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, yeah,
You're not TMZ. You're not paid to do that." And honestly, that's a it's becoming a reality that everyone thinks that they deserve to be paparazzi. But in all honesty, I think paparazzi is overrated and it's just breaking into people's private time. Look
definitely.
at Justin Bieber. He was at Coachella and you could tell that he was a shell of who he used to be until the fans brought him back to life. Once the fans brought him back to life, he's like, oh shit, I'm Justin fucking Bieber.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
you sell your soul to be famous, is what they say.
Yeah.
because then you have paparazzi and you have fans and everything else. I think Eminem said, I can't take a shit without someone standing by it" in one of his songs. And what that meant is he is so famous that fans will literally follow him into the restroom. And that's creepy as hell.
Yeah, that's real creepy.
Like, like, leave them alone. Let them
Yeah.
have their family time, especially if they have their kids with them.
Yeah.
You
You
know, if they're working out, let them work out.
I had one encounter. I had went to a SmackDown show some years ago. This was probably like 2015, 2016, something like that. It was a SmackDown show. And I was actually, and I had left my seat to go. I don't know if I went to the restroom or go get some snacks or whatever. This was at Joe Louis Arena when it was still up. So as I'm walking, I see Apollo Crews. So I'm just like, that's Apollo Crews. So I was gonna keep walking, but I was like, you know what? I didn't want to say nothing because I know he had just got out of a match and I just wanted to keep it moving. But I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna say what up, just say nice match and keep it moving. And that's what I did. I said, what's up, Apollo? Gave him a handshake or whatever, and I just said, nice, good match out there. He said thanks, and just kept it moving. That's how you supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what's up with these fans. Like, they crazy. They crazy, and they obsession, their obsessions is gonna get them hurt. That's because some wrestlers gonna play around. I definitely tell you that.
So I got to meet Bray Wyatt
Right.
uh, up here during World of Wheels. And it was a private, like, you paid to meet him and everything else. You can tell the fact that he was just physically exhausted from all the fans.
Mm,
But there's always a way to tell a worker from a fan.
mm,
And I approached him kind of similar to a worker kind of way, which turned his like, oh my God, it's another fan. I'm getting tired of my hands cramping to holy crap. Okay. Hey, how's it going? He got to rest his hand for a second because he didn't have to worry about rushing.
yeah.
I gave him that little like 5 minute kind of breather to recenter himself. That way he can get through the whole rest of the line.
Yeah.
Um, little things about understanding that some wrestlers want to just sign and go, but others, if you can read their body language and they're like, oh my god, I need like 5 minutes. Treat them like a human. If you
Yeah.
treat them like a human, they'll be more respectful to you than if you disrespected them by just being like, hey, can I get this sign, this sign, this sign, this sign, and this sign? Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Like, and also start getting your stuff personalized. Come
Yep.
on. Like, I
Yep.
have a Carrie Von Erich autograph that I got with a guy was selling like a bunch of his old photos and everything. And there was a Carrie Von Erich autograph. It was signed to him. Does that mean that it's worth less to me? No. What
Right.
that means is I now have a piece of history because Carrie Von Erich's no longer here. I
Mhm.
also have a Hawk and Animal signed T-shirt that
Mhm.
came with that same exact thing.
Oh
It
yeah.
doesn't mean any less to me if it's personalized. It just means maybe knock off like $100 to $200 of whatever you're trying to ask for. Stop trying to make a profit because you know that you can make a profit off wrestlers.
Definitely. Definitely agree with you on that. Dick Yerke, I appreciate you coming on. It was good talking to you about True North Wrestling, the event you got coming up on May 9th. Wish all the luck with that. Wish all the luck for True North Wrestling. Before we get up out of here, did you have any last words, any shout outs, or want to tell the people where to find you?
You can follow us on Facebook at True North Wrestling, Instagram as well. We have a TikTok, but I barely remember that we have a TikTok. Follow us on YouTube. Just look up True North Wrestling on YouTube, and that's where you'll find us. Pre-sale tickets for Aces Up on May 9th are on Eventbrite. So just go to eventbrite.com, look up TNW Presents Aces Up, or just go onto our Facebook, go to the event page. You'll find the tickets right there.
Sweet, sweet. That's what's up. So before I get out of here, just want to thank everybody that watched today's episode. Like I said, the YouTube channel hit over 9,000 subscribers, so we are officially on the road to 10K. So if you haven't already, go to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, check out all past episodes, recorded live streams. Leave a comment in the community, any posts you see on there. Go to Facebook. We're over 1,000 followers on there. Make sure you follow there. Make sure you go to Instagram and follow there. TikTok, we're over 1,000 followers. So we're trying to grow on that page. So give us a follow on there. Instagram, we got 400 followers. So trying to bump that up. I'm also on Twitter /X. So you can follow on there. And yeah, just tune in and watch Wrestling from the 313. Check out True North Wrestling on YouTube. We'll be back next week. My guest will be Justin Summers. He is the owner of Island Pro Wrestling. So we're gonna talk to him, see what's been going on with him and his promotion. And I think they got a show coming up, so we're gonna talk about that next week too. So for my guest, Dick Yerke, I am your host, Mike D, for Wrestling from the 313. We are out. Everybody have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you next Tuesday. Peace.